Good morning. This is Ben Turner. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my self-care project. This is my presentation for this is day 2 of week 6. My self-care project took on 3 areas in my life that I really felt like I needed to focus on. One of those is devotional. In my devotional life, I just really felt like I needed that consistency. And so what I did is I sent out an email to several pastor friends of mine that I really appreciate and trust. And so I got emails back from them, and with some books that they had been using. I did talk to some pastor friends around, and they had suggestions of things that I just thought, not really very deep. I appreciate some of those things, Jesus Calling and things like that, which is fine, but they're just not deep enough for what we're looking at. And so I did find a guide to prayer for all who seek God. I've used in the past, there are 3 different ones in that, and I've used in the past a guide to prayer for ministers and other servants, which is excellent. And so this one is just as well an excellent resource that I've been using. In the past, I've used other resources from Richard Foster, his spiritual devotionals, and the Christian classics that take writers, mystics, you might even say from the past, even 12th century writings that are just excellent in spiritual formation. So some of those are things that I use that are a little deeper, a little more deep thought, and so I've been using those, getting into that every morning, getting up a little earlier and making that time to be with the Lord in prayer. And so that's the one area. The other area was just physically getting in the right exercise and the right diet and the right rest and those kinds of things. It's pretty easy to get bumped off the schedule. In pastoral ministry, there's so many things that are happening, and so I've really been focusing on that, losing a little weight, going to the gym. My wife and I, Melody and I, get to go to the gym as often as possible, and just kind of work out and keep our bodies healthy, especially myself, getting close to 60 now. That's hard to even say out loud, but that's where we are. And so that's been a great help for us, is to stay on track physically. And just with, like I say, diet, exercise, rest, those kinds of things, scheduling. We're at a point in our lives where that's a little bit easier for us. We took care of our parents, both of our mothers, for quite a long time. And now they're both in heaven, and we don't have the kids at home to take care of, and pets or anything like that. Although there are some pets in our house, they're not ours, but they hang out. I don't know what the deal is with that, but our kids have a dog, and my mother left a little doggy behind. By the way, available if you want to come pick him up. And his name is Boomer. He's a little tiny Chihuahua. And so that was the second area that was very much needed in my life, and it reveals a whole lot about God's faithfulness as we are faithful. I think I've been realizing as I've taken the time to get into God's presence and to really work on where I am physically and even emotionally and those kinds of things. I see God working in areas that maybe I didn't before, just because of that. God is faithful when we're faithful. He's always faithful, but He shows us that when we are faithful. The third area that was of real interest to me was meeting with a spiritual director, a mentor, and we have a retired pastor in my church here, and that has just really impressed me. His name is Jay Spivey. He's 81 years old. Started pastoring when I was 1 year old, actually, and he's just a great preacher and a great one of those people that is at peace and at rest in his life and who he is. And we've been meeting together, and that has been just a great help to me I just felt like I needed that. I don't think we ever get to a point in our lives where we don't need someone that maybe has walked the road a little further than we have. And that doesn't always mean that they're older. There are many times where people that are younger than us can teach us things that we may not have experienced in our lives, or areas of growth that they have mastered that we have not. So it doesn't have to be an older person, but Pastor Jay is just one of those guys that has blessed my life in many ways. He gets to preach, and the teenagers say, "Well, Pastor Ben, we love you, but Pastor Jay is our favorite." And so, oh well, it is the way it is. Those are areas that for me, they really connect. For me, they really connect with the whole rule of life idea, because they're foundational. That spiritual, physical, and even the relational pieces of life, they help me to keep focused on the big things that I have in my rule of life, and my relationship to God that needs to be growing, my relationship with my wife and my family, with continuing to hone my skills and knowledge and understanding of my craft, pastoral ministry, but also vocationally, that I would be growing vocationally. That for me, it's not just about employment, but it's about the vocation, the calling. Vocation coming from that Latin voca, meaning voice, the call of God in our lives. That never goes away, and so these things I think are foundational in helping me to focus on and to listen to the voice of God. As I move into a different kind of a time in my life. Most of you, my cohorts, are just getting started, and I am kind of jealous. I wish I knew then what I know now, but God is faithful and has been, and so continue to just keep forging ahead and keep letting God do what He's doing in your life. That's pretty much it for now, and I want to let you all know that this has been a blessing to me to be a part of and to hear what you have to say. And I hope I haven't pushed anybody too hard, but I want to be helpful and encouraging in this time in my life to those that are getting started in ministry. And you are the future, and you are the now of the church. And God is blessing the church through you, and you're wonderful people. And I think I've rambled on enough now. Thanks.